Hi there, it's me, Annalisa Boyd, Orthodox Christian wife, mom to 8, almost 9, bread baker, candy maker, self-proclaimed doula, accidental midwife, and the author of The Ascetic Lives of Mothers, Hear Me, and Special Agents of Christ, all through Ancient Faith Publishing. So today I wanted to talk about New Year's resolutions, and you may be thinking, why is she talking about this now? New Year's was 2 weeks ago. Well, this is kind of the time that a lot of people start to fizzle out. So I thought it would be fitting to talk about it now. What is the number one New Year's resolution? Exactly. To get healthy. That is a pretty broad thing to resolve to do. If you're just going to say, I'm going to get healthy this year, that can mean a whole lot of things. And what is the number one? This is my own personal research. This isn't like official statistics. What is the number one reason that people fail with their resolutions? They pile on too much too quickly. They make big, drastic changes. And then they find that the weight of those changes is too much for them to bear. I remember last year, about this time, I had been going to the gym for months and months, and so I had my regular routine, and there were kind of the regulars, the people who were there each time that I went at my certain time, and we had a really good time together. It was really fun, and we knew each other, first name only, and, we were workout pals. They weren't people that we spent time with out of the gym or anything like that, but we looked forward to seeing each other. Hey, how you doing? A little small talk and encouraging each other if we, hit a new goal or something like that. Well, right after New Year's, all of a sudden, the gym was packed. Now, I was getting there at 6 in the morning, so it wasn't, later in the day or evening when you would expect it to be as packed, but 6 in the morning, and it was just full and not as enjoyable as it had been. And one of the regular guys, he came over and kind of whispered in my ear, "Don't worry, they will be gone in 2 weeks." Okay, that wasn't really a Spanish accent, but he was Hispanic, and I'm doing my best. Horrible. Anyway, and he was right. 2 weeks later, almost to the day, and we were back to being our little gang of workout, our workout crew again, and it was a lot of fun. But it made me realize that a lot of these people, great intentions. I mean, it's not a bad thing to want to get healthy. It's a really great thing. But they had bitten off way more than they could realistically chew. So I was talking last week with my Sunday school class. I help teach 11th and 12th graders, and they're phenomenal, let me just tell you. And we were talking about resolutions. A couple of them had made New Year's resolutions, and they were actually pretty reasonable. I was impressed. But the other thing we talked about was spiritual resolutions. It's always important, if you're going to do anything like that, to talk to a spiritual father or mother, because they know you and they can help you not to burden yourself with too much. The Bible says that Christ's yoke is easy and his burden is light. That doesn't mean easy. It does not mean easy. And we can see in the lives of the saints that his burden doesn't mean that it's easy, but it is light for our hearts and for us to be able to bear. He gives us what we can bear. Anyway, back to the students. So we talked about different things that different spiritual resolutions that we might consider making. And they had some really good insight. And then I was encouraged by a podcast that I had heard. I'll put the name up there because I want to make sure I have the right nun. But it was a mother, somebody, I think it's Magdalena. And she was talking to a group of women. And she had mentioned something like, how about making it a goal or a resolution to thank God for everything, and not just for a couple weeks or a couple months and then add more on your spiritual plate, but for the year. For a year, thank God for everything. And once that's established, you can add something next year. But you're working on something that is going to become a permanent part of your life. Most of us, if we're making a spiritual resolution, will say something like, I want to pray more. I want to go to all the church services this year. I want to read my Bible every day or read through the Bible in a year or whatever, fill in the blank. And a lot of times, even with that, we start trying to do all the prayers. So we're praying the morning, midday, and evening prayers, and there's praying the hours, and what's that? And there are acathists and all these different things that we can be praying, and then we end up doing nothing, and we end up worse off than if we hadn't started in the first place. Another recommendation she had was to ask God's blessing for everything before doing anything, and that helps us to be very deliberate in the choices that we're making, right? And she said, if you're about to read a book or watch a movie or go somewhere or do something and you're kind of like, I don't really want to ask God's blessing for this, maybe it's something you shouldn't be doing. But it's making us more mindful, because the whole point is for it to be more of Christ and less of us as we work out our salvation. Another thing that one of my students said that I thought was fantastic was that she does not make New Year's resolutions. She makes daily resolutions and small ones and things that she can accomplish. Your spiritual mother or father may have something bigger for you to do, and listen to what they have to say. But it is beneficial for us to do small things and add to it. I go back to the idea of the gym. When I first started lifting weights, when I first started doing anything, when I first tried to do a push-up on my knees, the girl push-ups, when I first started trying to do a push-up, I could go down, but I couldn't come back up. I had to kind of rest in between, but I couldn't do it in one fluid motion. So I went down, I took a deep breath, and I pushed up. And at first, boy, that took everything in me to be able to do that 5 times. And then I got to the point where I was so excited because I did my very first one. I went down and came back up. I didn't have to wait. I didn't feel like my poor little biceps were going to explode or anything like that. And it was a wonderful, wonderful feeling. And I built from there. And I got stronger in small increments. If I went to the gym that first day that I decided to get healthy or get in shape, I would not have been able to pick up the weight that I was able to get to by adding a little at a time. If I had just gone in there and tried to deadlift 180 pounds, number one, even if I could do it, my body would be really mad at me the next day, and I would be very discouraged and not want to do that ever again. Or I would hurt myself. It would not be beneficial for me to try to do it that way. I started with just the bar that was 40 pounds. I carry kids around all the time that are anywhere from 25 to, he's about 50 pounds, my older 6-year-old. So I was used to carrying that much, and we started there, and we got the muscles used to it. And then we could add on 5-pound increments until we got up to a place that was strenuous, but I had built up from pretty much nothing, just using my body resistance. So in the spiritual life, it is very similar. We start small, and gradually Christ lays more and more on us to strengthen us, not to burden us, but to strengthen us. And oftentimes we burden ourselves. So if you have made any kind of New Year's resolution, whether it's a physical thing to get in shape and be healthy, or it's a spiritual thing, make sure that you have proper guidance, and make sure that you do not bite off more than you can chew. And be encouraged, because the effort that you put into it is worth it. Well, God bless and Happy New Year, and let's keep working at our salvation one mama moment at a time.